Microsoft is one of the biggest gaming companies in existence. Heck, it's one of the biggest companies in existence, period. They've had their hands in a lot of projects and as such have produced some pretty big failures along the way. However, these 10 biggest Microsoft fails are all about the video games. We aren't going to talk about Windows Vista or anything like that. We're going to keep our focus on Microsoft's blunders in the gaming industry in particular. These are the top 10 biggest Microsoft fails. Number 10, the Japanese market. While the Xbox 360 is doing well in the American market, it never really took off in Japan. Microsoft even tried making one of Japan's most popular RPG franchises, the Tales series, a console exclusive, and even that didn't sell the console. Sony kind of floated on their own success in Japan through this generation, and now they are a fan favorite for the next generation. The Xbox One, though, is leading in the American territories and have pushed themselves much harder in the policies that they had ensued First, when the Xbox One was announced in March of 2013, but it's still a fail nonetheless on Microsoft's part. Number 9, cumbersome Xbox 360 patching process. Notice that Team Fortress 2 on the Xbox 360 has nothing other than basic classes, even though the game has released countless new weapons, stages, and hats. Notice that Fez never fixed a game-breaking bug, even though the developer had a patch for it ready. Notice that Skullgirls balancing patch came out months later on the Xbox 360 than it did on the PS3. You may ask yourself, why is this? Because Microsoft used to have a cumbersome patching process that required needless check-ins, heavy expenditures of money, and strict guidelines that limited patch size and content. As a result, the Xbox 360 version of many indie games just isn't as complete as the PC or PS3 version counterparts. Number 8, the Xbox 360 D-pad. The Xbox 360 D-pad is horrible. It has trouble detecting the 4 cardinal directions, which is the only thing a D-pad is designed to do. It rocks awkwardly and frequently causes false input, and it's about as bad as you can get for fighting games or anything that requires quick and flawless directional inputs like Pac-Man. That's really nothing more to say about this failure other than Microsoft, your D-pad sucks. Number 7. The Dreamcast Windows CE integration. Bet you didn't know that this even existed. Microsoft had a hand in making the Dreamcast. Specifically, they allowed Windows CE to run on the console, or at least they allowed games to run on Windows CE architecture. Actually, Windows CE would need to be included on the Dreamcast game disc to run it anyway, so this was all just funky background coding. Unfortunately, it was underutilized. The only 2 Dreamcast games that ran on Windows CE are Sega Rally and Resident Evil 2. Number 6, the Xbox One non-gamer reveal. When the Xbox One was first revealed, what did they have to offer? Streaming services, buddy lists, dynamic achievements, sports, and more sports. The original reveal barely had anything to do with actual video games. In fact, the only gaming related crap it had to offer was Call of Duty and dogs. Did we mention Call of Duty though? Yeah, Call of Duty. Number 5, backing the HD DVD. There was a secondary war going on aside from the standard console war last generation. It was a war of optical media between HD DVDs and Blu-rays. The Xbox 360 utilized HD DVDs while the PS3 utilized Blu-rays, and despite Sony's console being less popular here in America, Blu-ray still won. As a result, the Xbox 360 utilized an inefficient proprietary media that had no use or that anyone even used right up until the end of its lifespan. This is why games like Final Fantasy came on multiple discs. The Blu-ray's success over the HD DVD shaped the face of optical media in the coming years, making it a loss for Microsoft and one of its biggest fails. Number 4, the Red Ring of Death. Even though the Xbox 360 was the more popular console in America, it still had its fair share of issues. Many gamers were wary of picking up an Xbox 360 on day one because of its infamous Red Ring of Death. Early Xbox 360s would encounter this error so often, some gamers have reported going through 4 Xboxes in just the span of 5 years. Thankfully, the Xbox 360 is out, and the Xbox One is actually built not like a piece of garbage. Number 3, Xbox Smart Glass. Does anyone know what this does other than connect games to cell phones? The PS3 is already doing that with the new Beyond Touch app and Beyond Two Souls. Can anyone actually think of a game that utilized the Smart Glass feature well? It seems like the only thing that this hype technology can do is provide extra info on your Game of Thrones episode, and it can't even really do that efficiently, so it's pretty useless. Number 2, the original Xbox controller. The Xbox Fat controller, aka the Xbox Vanilla, aka the Hamburger, aka the Duke, was one of the worst controller fails in history. It was uncomfortable to hold, the buttons were weird, oval shaped, and were laid out in a slanted position. The sticks were loose, and it was just basically a mess. Practically the only thing these were good for was salvaging PCBs from arcade sticks. In fact, the controller design was so bad, Microsoft released a second Xbox controller halfway through the console's lifetime. Number 1, early Xbox One policies. Finally, we bring you the number 1 biggest Microsoft fail, the original Xbox One policies. For those of you who don't remember, the Xbox One was originally not going to allow you to sell used games, needed to connect to an internet connection constantly for DRM purposes, wouldn't include a headset, and required the Kinect to be always on in order for the console to function. Then, after practically pissing off everyone in the gaming community, including fans, news outlets, indie developers, and even the armed forces, Microsoft pulled a 180 on their policies and changed everything in order to calm the enraged crowds. Hey guys, thanks for watching this top 10 video. If you enjoyed the content that we bring you guys, click the subscribe button and the like button, as that helps us out a lot. And thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode.